And Tucker was enraged, and the way he targeted his anger was to have him on his podcast.
Wait, so he was so enraged, he decided to have a friendly interview with Nick Fuentes. The problem, listen, the problem is not that he held the interview, it's that he normalized this type of ideology. I think the Republican Party is for the first time being forced to face the monster that they've created in Nick Fuentes. Throughout my entire youth, I've watched Donald Trump normalize, not Nick Fuentes' rhetoric, but a type of extremist rhetoric that the U.S. has never seen before. Now, that is manifesting in the GOP, or at least Tucker Carlson and big wings of the GOP, welcoming in. Tucker Carlson is welcoming in somebody who believes the Holocaust didn't happen, or he thinks if it did happen, it was a good thing.
Republicans turned on Tucker Carlson after Nick Fuentes' interview. Check this out.
He thinks that black people deserve less rights, women deserve less rights.
You can't say that about Donald Trump.
The Republicans do not.
About Jewish people with Donald Trump.
That's what I'm saying.
He wore a yarmulke at his daughter's wedding.
The way that Donald Trump speaks about the Democratic Party, the way that Donald Trump speaks about people who disagree with him, has normalized this extremist rhetoric. He said that we were gnats who need to be taken care of in front of the military. But the point is, a lot of young people are being sucked into this Nick Fuentes pipeline. I don't think the Republican Party, the old guard, is ready for what's about to smack them in the face with this new guard.
I'm just curious, just to follow up on that, Adam. There is a thought that because of what happened to Charlie Kirk and how he was killed, that there are people who were sort of in his tent. Charlie Kirk did not, he hated Nick Fuentes. There was a battle between them. And that those people have now moved to support someone like Nick Fuentes. Do you see that happening?
I agree with that analysis.
What's up, everyone? Adam Achler here, and you're going to want to watch this video until the end because I just hopped off of CNN NewsNight, my favorite show to go on, of course. And I break down the GOP civil war between Nick Fuentes and his Nazis versus the rest of the MAGA base. It gets interesting, so of course, watch until the end. Make sure you drop a like and double check to make sure you're subscribed. Thank you.
2 nights ago, Mamdani wins, and we're told he's going to turn the city into a place where you don't have groceries on the shelves, where people can't put gas in their car. You actually know where that's happening? Under government rule, with the White House being under Republican rule, with the White House being Republican rule, with the Senate being Republican rule, with the House being Republican rule. And what do we hear from the FAA? Is that there are people who can't afford to put gas in their cars because they're not getting paid. You're worried about Mamdani being a socialist. Let me finish. You're worried about Mamdani being a socialist. I'm worried about the Republicans governing.
This is why actually Republicans don't like big government, because it is extremely unreliable, and that's why they don't want more government the way that Mamdani is proposing. But
they're in charge.
I hope that, Arthur, that the Democrats are listening to you. The issue is, if you're listening to the mainstream media, 87% of coverage for the Democrats has been positive during the shutdown. So they look at this, they think they're winning. Schumer thinks every day that passes is better for him. The minority whip talks about having leverage. And they don't really have the incentive now, right? They look at the margins that they won in Virginia, where lots of angry government employees turned out to vote for Spanberger, and they think, I don't want to give this up. At the same time, Axios is reporting that House Democrats are putting tremendous pressure on Senate Democrats not to cave, not to compromise, or they will have, quote unquote, hell to pay. So I don't think Democrats are in a position where they are interested in negotiating based on everything that's being reported and that we're hearing from them.
Democrats are absolutely about to negotiate. There's reporting today that they're ready because they have leverage. First of all, I just want to say, the idea that the Republican Party is the party of small government, as you claimed, is a joke under this administration. Donald Trump is taking stakes, active stakes in multiple companies. Donald Trump is expanding his executive power, trying to trample all over Congress, trying to appoint people in key positions so that they can take Jimmy Kimmel off the air. But I do want to say...
So what do you want? What do you want big government here in New York? Why is that something that we should advocate for?
We just want the government open.
You don't know my position on New York,
I want the government. The Republicans have voted 14 times to open the government.
Let me just finish. Republicans have voted 14 times to strip health care away from millions of Americans. It is incredibly, incredibly obvious who has the moral high ground in this government shutdown, and it's the Democratic Party.
Hold on a second. Strip health care away from millions of Americans. That is a narrative so well worn. It is practically ridiculous. Like my uncle favorites conspiracy theory shirts. Let's be crystal clear. Republicans aren't trying to strip anything. They are trying to inject some common sense and free market principles into a healthcare system that is more bloated and inefficient than a government bureaucracy trying to launch a new website. When they are talking about repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act, it's not just because they want people to suffer. It's because the ACA, despite its lofty promises, has been a train wreck for many. Skyrocketing premiums, limited choices, and a system that feels more like a punishment rather than a benefit. Republicans are pushing for options that empower individuals, not expand government control. Think about it. More choices, less mandate, actual competition. That's not stripping healthcare. That is trying to give people a real say in their own medical decisions instead of being forced into a one-size-fits-all straitjacket designed by the bureaucrats in DC. And this idea of Democrats having the moral high ground during a government shutdown, please, it's like they're trying to say the person who locked themselves in a pantry with all the snacks has the moral high ground because they are protecting the food from everyone else. This isn't about morality. It's about political maneuvering, pure and simple. Government shutdowns, while inconvenient, are often a symptom of a deeper problem, out of control spending, and a political class unwilling to make tough choices. Republicans usually are trying to rein in that spending to prevent future generations from being buried under a mountain of debt. Democrats, on the other hand, often seen it as an opportunity to grandstand and blame the other side, while pushing for more government programs, more spending, and ultimately more control over your life. So when someone claims one side has moral high ground in a political fight, take a step back. Usually, it means they're trying to win the argument by tugging at your heartstrings rather than engaging with the actual policy differences. It's a cheap shot, and frankly, it's insulting to anyone who actually understands the nuances of these complex issues.
They are just trying to prevent millions of Americans
Who
from
put
being
the
kicked off of
sunset provision
healthcare.
for ACA subsidies?
Republicans negotiated.
That was Democrats.
Republicans negotiated that in.
Who put the sunset provision for ACA?
Do you understand how negotiation works in Congress? Two sides have to come together. The Republican
this would
Party.
be the first time that we
The
wouldn't have a
Republican
clean
Party was
CR
the
passed.
party.
This is the bill that Schumer and everyone else
The
agreed
Republican
to back
Party was the party
earlier
that
this year.
came in.
Why aren't they committing to it this
Listen,
year?
the Republican Party.
Why can't they commit to it
The
this
Republican
year?
Party was the party that didn't want permanent credits. Number one. Number two, the reason why Democrats are number one just holding off is because millions of Americans are about to get kicked off healthcare. It's incredibly simple. Can I just ask to either of the Republicans on this panel, would you rather see this government shutdown end in Trump's preferred way, which is terminating the filibuster, or Democrats' preferred way, which is extending healthcare? What do you say?
First of all, I'm not a Republican.
Sorry. Then what do you say?
Then
What do you say? I want to see what do you say?
I ran for city council as a Democrat in the city of New York. Lost by 100
Then
votes.
Then I want to ask you, what do you say about that?
I'm a New Yorker.
Okay, answer my question. Answer my question then. Answer my
these
question.
labels. You know why we are where we are?
Answer
Because
my
of what you
question.
just did. I'm going to answer your question. But this is why we are where we are. Because we've become so partisan. We've forgotten about the people who don't put gas in their car. We've forgotten about the people who can't feed their kids. We're more worried about here's why the Democrats are not motivated to settle this. Because history will say, under Donald Trump, it was the longest government shutdown.
The second
it'll
one.
It'll be now. We're
getting there. We're getting there.
So for the Democrats, it's going to be down on his scorecard. I wish Congress would go to their home districts and see the people suffering.
You want to know who
and
it is?
then come back to Washington and then make their decisions.
Somebody is, and it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she's taking the sides of the Democrats actively. She has talked to her constituents, and she said their health care premiums are about to skyrocket. So, again, one party clearly has the moral high ground. Let me ask the same question. How should the shutdown end? The way that Trump wants it
It
to
should
end?
end that it always. There's one way it typically has always ended.
Negotiation.
Under Biden.
Thank you. That's what I'm
under
saying.
Biden,
Negotiation.
It always ends with a clean
With
CR.
negotiation.
No.
I reject your premise of your
So,
two false.
Donald Trump wants to terminate the filibuster. Democrats want to extend health care credits. Which of these sides would you choose?
I reject that premise.
Okay.
He's just a vile creature. The worst thing on the face of the earth.
And I'm glad she's retiring. I think she did the country a great service by retiring. I think she was a tremendous liability for the country.
And addiction.
I thought she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible.
Doesn't it sadden you that the two leaders, what she said is horrible about him, what he said is horrible. I don't have any recollection of Ronald Reagan ever speaking like that about Tip O'Neill.
Arthur, who started
I don't
this
remember.
era?
I don't remember Bill Clinton ever saying that about Newt Gingrich.
Who started this era of politics? You were saying this is not how politics has always been, and I agree, but who started this new era of divisive politics? Was it Obama? Was it Biden? It was definitely Trump. Trump's claim to fame in the political arena was saying that Obama's birth certificate was fake.
Oh, come on. Attributing the entire new era of divisive politics solely to Donald Trump and the Betia controversy is like blaming the invention of internet for all your Uncle Bad Facebook memes. Divisive politics, my friend, that is as American as apple pie and arguing with your relatives at Thanksgiving dinner. Let's not pretend that before Trump, Washington was some kind of utopian bipartisan paradise where everyone held hands and sang kumbaya. We have had heated political battles since the Federalist Papers. Remember the Civil War? People were literally canning each other on the Senate floor. Fast forward to the 90s. Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton were hardly exchanging recipes for friendship. The idea Trump single-handedly opened the Pandora box of political nastiness just ignores decades, if not centuries, of history. And let's be honest, the left has its fair share of contributions to the decisiveness. Remember Hillary Clinton calling half of the country deplorables, or Obama talking about people clinging to their guns and religion. The media, for its part, has always been fanning the flames of divisions for years, turning every disagreement into a moral crisis. Trump didn't invent political insults. He just took them to a whole new, unfiltered, and often hilarious level that resonated with a lot of people who felt ignored and disrespected by the establishment. What Trump did was expose and amplify existing divisions, not create them out of thin air. He gave a voice to the people who felt marginalized by the cultural elite and the political establishment. He spoke plainly, often crudely, and that was a breath of fresh air for many who were tired and carefully crafted political speaking. To say he started it is to ignore the seeming resentment and division that was already present, waiting for someone like Trump to tap into it. So while the Betia controversy may have been an early controversial chapter in his political rise, it's far too simplistic pin the entire blame of our current climate on one man. And that's just convenient storytelling, not an honest assessment of how we got there. It's like blaming the guy who finally hears fire in a burning building for the fire itself.
That was his claim to fame. His second claim to fame in the political arena was coming up with nicknames for his opponents. He was chanting,
that's what got him elected.
So let me ask you,
That's what got him elected.
can any of you concede that Trump was the one, either of you, that entered us into this new era of divisive
I
politics?
thought we were talking about Nancy Pelosi.
Well, we're talking about them both, but yes,
Yeah.
she is.
Was it her that entered us into this new era?
Look, there have been Hillary Clinton making comments about deplorables.
5 years
Obama
after-
talking about people, guns and Bible. I mean, I don't think politics has ever been a gentlemanly sport. If you look at back during the Civil War, people were getting caned on the Senate floor and
But Trump is dragging us down to the
hospitalized.
depths of hell by breaking unspoken norms over and over. He is.
I think that one piece, though, is
Tonight, an eye-raising quote. Absolute shit show. That is what a senior staffer is calling the Heritage Foundation after its leader, Kevin Roberts, defended Tucker Carlson for hosting white nationalist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes on his podcast. Roberts is now apologizing, but the staffer says Roberts lost control of the organization. There is open rebellion. It is disgust from those there. 85% are totally disgusted. Carlson ignited a civil war inside the Republican Party with that podcast. Right-wing provocateur and close Trump ally Laura Loomer told CNN that Carlson is a poison pill to the GOP and he'll cost the GOP elections in 2026 and 2028.
The reason why he brought him on was Fuentes, on his own, attacked Tucker Carlson's father, wife, and child. And Tucker was enraged, and the way he targeted his anger was to have him on his podcast.
Wait, so he was so enraged, he decided to have a friendly interview with Nick Fuentes. The problem, listen, the problem is not that he held the interview, it's that he normalized this type of ideology. I think the Republican Party is for the first time being forced to face the monster that they've created in Nick Fuentes. Throughout my entire youth, I've watched Donald Trump normalize, not Nick Fuentes' rhetoric, but a type of extremist rhetoric that the U.S. has never seen before. Now, that is manifesting in the GOP, or at least Tucker Carlson and big wings of the GOP, welcoming in Tucker Carlson is welcoming in somebody who believes the Holocaust didn't happen, or he thinks if it did happen, it was a good thing. He thinks that black people deserve less rights, women deserve less rights.
You can't say that about Donald Trump.
The Republicans do
about
not.
Jewish people with Donald Trump.
That's how I'm saying.
He wore a yarmulke at his daughter's wedding.
The way that Donald Trump speaks about the Democratic Party, the way that Donald Trump speaks about people who disagree with him, has normalized this extremist rhetoric. He said that we were gnats who need to be taken care of in front of the military. But the point is, a lot of young people are being sucked into this Nick Fuentes pipeline.
That's true.
I don't think the Republican Party, the old guard, is ready for what's about to smack them in the face with this new guard.
I'm just curious, just to follow up on that, Adam. There is a thought that because of what happened to Charlie Kirk and how he was killed, that there are people who were sort of in his tent. Charlie Kirk did not, he hated Nick Fuentes. There was a battle between them. And that those people have now moved to support someone like Nick Fuentes. Do you see that happening?
I agree with that analysis. I've been following the rise of Nick Fuentes for a few years. I've been tracking it closely, and Charlie Kirk was a bulwark against this type of far-right extremism. Charlie Kirk would unequivocally condemn the Groypers who came to TPUSA, but I'm telling you, we are now seeing this vacuum filled. We are now seeing people on Instagram Reels post Nick Fuentes and get 500,000 likes with Holocaust denial. And my worry is, J.D. Vance needs to come out and condemn this. J.D. Vance, when the Young Republican group chat leaked of people who were Nazi supporters, muddied the waters. Do you not see the normalization that's happening?
We're back, and it's time for Newsnight Nightcap. You sunk my battleship edition.
Let me know your thoughts on the story in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, always keep thinking. And I'll see you in the next video.
The famous war board game joined Trivial Pursuit and Slime as new inductees into the National Toy Hall of Fame. So each of you have just, I'm going to say 20 seconds now, because we've learned a lot about Arthur Idala's life, to tell us what else should be in the National Toy Hall of Fame. Adam?
I think the Xbox 360 deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame. So many games that I grew up playing, Call of Duty Zombies, Minecraft.
What is that?
You don't know what an Xbox 360
You don't know what Xbox is?
I feel so
Atari.
Wow.
that you were like, I grew up with
Atari,
Xbox.
by the way,
Yes.
is in there. Yeah, Atari's is in the Hall of Fame.